I'm from the German customs in Bremerhaven. We got to make a last inspection before you go aboard of ship. So will you please open the package now?
You are listening to a family of displaced persons in Bremerhaven, Germany, as they embark on the first leg of their journey to Owatonna, Minnesota, where the people act.
The people act. These are true stories, tape recorded in communities across the nation where people are working together to build a better future. The People Act is presented by the TV Radio Workshop established by the Ford Foundation and produced by the CBS Radio Network. Every voice and sound is real. No actors are used. Now, here again is your narrator, the noted reporter, Robert Trout.
In a two-room flat in a broken-down building in Bad Nauheim, Germany, lives the family of Ilmer von Mende. Our tape recorders were running when Pastor Dietrich of the Lutheran Welfare Society brings him startling news.
Wir werden Englisch sprechen, sodass alles auch verstanden wird. Nicht? We are happy to be able to visit you here. We have a great surprise for you. We have just received a cable from our New York office that the Minnesota Lutheran Welfare Society has found a sponsor for you. And you are destined, if everything goes well with your processing, to go to a little town in Minnesota, which is named Owatonna. I'm very glad to hear this. It was my wish for a long time to go to America and to find a new home for me and my family.
For the von Mendes, the weeks that follow are a blur. They are investigated, processed, questioned, examined.
Wie heißt du?
Achim von Mende.
Achim. Schön, Achim. Mach bitte mal deinen Mund ganz weit auf. Sag A. Fine.
They get to the processing camp, orientation lectures, special classes.
This.
This is a room.
All together? This
is a room.
How many walls?
Finally, the word comes through. They are cleared and accepted. They can go to the United States. Their friends throw a farewell party. Departure time. They climb aboard the train for Bremerhaven, port of embarkation. The von Mende family boards the General Muir, bound for New York, and then a small Midwestern town 5,470 miles away, Owatonna, Minnesota, a town we'd never heard of, and we asked several questions. Why Owatonna? What would they find there? What would they do there? What kind of town is this Owatonna? While the von Mende family was crossing the Atlantic, we rushed our tape recorders to Minnesota to see what awaited them. And here, on the corner of Cedar and Broadway, we had our first look at the bustling, busy town of Owatonna. Vital statistics: population 10,219, 58 miles south of Minneapolis. We talked first with businessman Mick Humes and asked him about the town.
It's unusual that a town like Owatonna should, with its industries, its varied industries, should be located right in the center of an agricultural area. That's what makes Owatonna a typical American city, and that everything is represented here. For example, you have across the street the home office of a fire and casualty insurance company. And directly across the street from the insurance company is a class ring manufacturer. A couple of blocks beyond that is there are two businesses making ventilating equipment and small farm equipment.
In front of the Security Bank and Trust Company, we were introduced to the mayor of Owatonna, T. Edmund Carroll.
Basically, Owatonna appears about the same as most other towns of its size in Minnesota, but when you really study the town, you'll find that it's quite a bit different than most of them. That girl over there getting out of the car with the red hat, she has only been in this country a year and a half. She came from Poland. And that little boy there with his mother, with the Gene Autry, boy with the Gene Autry suit, he's from Estonia. Been here a year and a half. He's 7 years old, and he learned our language in less than a year. That family coming out of the grocery store are from Czechoslovakia. They've been here 4 years. In Owatonna, we have all of the nationalities, Polish, Czechoslovakian, Scandinavian, German. Well, in fact, all of the European nationals are represented here in Owatonna.
We got right down to the question we'd come to find out about. What would happen to the Von Mende family when they got here? Mayor Carroll said, "Come on, I'll show you. There's another DP family that's just arrived." We went. 50 people crowded into a 2-story frame house on Grove Street. The guests of honor, a German family. The hosts, Americans, Latvians, Ukrainians, Poles, Czechs, Germans. The people of Owatonna. And we mixed in and talked with some of the DPs. Why had they come to America? An attractive blonde young woman told us of relatives still behind the Iron Curtain and asked that we not use her name.
I was born in Ukraine in 1939. It was the first war between Polish country and German. And the first time they come German to us, they destroyed us, our country, so well. And then was war between Russian and German. Then they killed it again they killed very many people. Then Russian, they killed too many people, so we was afraid to stay over there. And we just ran and ran 30 miles we make daily. We were so only with 2 cases, with 2 packages in our hands. Then we sleep just by fences. Sometimes we just sleep in stable in the hay. But we were glad we live. We come to Bremen, and we was glad we will see America, and we can start to live again.
A man from Latvia remembered a threat, and the fear was apparent in his eyes and in his voice.
Nazis was very dangerous, and they killed very much people, but it is nothing with them what are doing Russian. Somebody from Russian people told, if you can go too far away, we find you and we kill you.
A small, bright-eyed German woman who saw her friend shot at a railroad siding spoke of Owatonna.
We were so amazed. Just take a trip to the supermarket. You go with a wagon around and pick out whatever you want. At first we couldn't read it. We brought what looked nice to us. We were sometimes quite surprised what came out then. But now I have learned it. And then that meat department, oh my, we hadn't eaten meat, seen so much meat for years. We had to come along on a quarter of a pound meat for a whole month sometimes. And then a washing machine. Oh, you have no idea what is that wonderful when you have all your life washed your clothes by hand, and after every wash day the finger, that's all through, the skin is off, and then you put it just in and stand and watch it, and the wringer goes automatically. And I must say that washing machine, that's what I like best. That's hard to put in a few words, but I will at least try it. You just can imagine how it is to wake up and feel you have nothing to worry. Nobody can knock at your door, and you can go to the church wherever you like. You can say what you like. But I think the most important thing is that feeling of freedom. We really don't have to worry that one night the Russian can sneak in, because I just don't think they can sneak in here so over one night. And so our boy has a citizenship, is an American, and can grow up in freedom, and I think that's just wonderful.
And the party went on. We cornered Melvin Jenke, the Owatonna superintendent of schools, and asked him the second question we'd come to find out about.
Briefly, this is the process by which the displaced persons get to Owatonna. In Europe, the families are investigated thoroughly, and there is a selective process done by church groups: Lutheran, Catholic, Presbyterian, Episcopalian, Congregational, Greek Orthodox, Jewish, and so forth. Then in Owatonna, the various churches put out appeals to their members to sponsor families or individuals for resettlement. The sponsoring family becomes a surer and must make certain guarantees. Here they are. They must guarantee a job, that the job does not displace an American. They must guarantee housing, and that the housing doesn't displace an American. And then, last of all, they must guarantee that the family or the individual will not be a public charge or on public relief for a period of 1 year.
We left the party and went out into the street. A distant church bell was ringing. We met a visitor from Minneapolis, Pastor Henry Whiting of the Lutheran Welfare Society.
From the very beginning, we became very much interested in Owatonna because of the almost spontaneous reaction that we found there among our people in that community. It seemed as though Owatonna had a very real heart for this program. Pastors, community leaders, businessmen, industrialists, the schools, all seemed to gather around this program and give it everything they had.
The von Mende family would be welcomed, assured a job. We asked to see how the DPs were getting along in the industries of Owatonna, what the attitude of the businessmen was toward them. We went into the Justin Manufacturing Company, who make high school and college class rings, yearbooks, and trophies. Personnel manager Joe Herzog met us.
We employ approximately 600 people in Owatonna, most of whom come to us from the surrounding area. We have a number of displaced persons in our employ who came to us within the last 2 years. These people are hired on the same basis as the rest of our employees. They are paid the same wage scale, they work under the same conditions, they advance on both merit and seniority. We don't think of these displaced persons as such, other than the difficulty which they encounter in learning the English language and in adapting themselves to local custom. They differ very little from any of the people whom we employ from our own community. Would you like to go out and meet a few of these folks?
We said yes, and we asked specifically to see a new DP worker, someone perhaps who might still be having language difficulties. We found workers at the next bench helping out.
What's the dope, Walter?
Well, Howard says he has made about 30 pieces and they were pretty fine, and now the last ones don't come out right. It seems like one side of the ring is up and the other side isn't.
Well, of course, you know what the answer is there, and I tried to tell him that. Would you ask him to just check that forcer and show him how to do that?
Ja, I will do that.
No?
Howard, du musst mal nachsehen, ob der Forcer richtig aufgesetzt ist. Der muss der muss genau über die Mitte.
We met other DPs.
Mr. Trout, this is Yolis Campi from Latvia.
I'm from Latvia, yes. When I came here, there was one family who helped me to find a room and helped me to find a job. I don't think that would have happened in Germany, because we foreigners were not on very good terms.
A man working 8 to 10 hours a day could not even buy a pair of shoes with 1 month's wages. Times were very bad. The comparison of life in America and Russia is as great as the difference between heaven and hell.
How do the American workers feel about the DPs in the department? Ex-Marine Don Smith spoke about Uldis Campi.
We first came across Uldis Campi when he came with us in February of last year. And at first it was a little difficult to understand him because, well, it was new to us to get used to the accent of the Latvian. And I'd rather work with him now myself than just about anybody else.
Foreman Helmer Bart summed up his experience with the DP workers.
I would estimate that they are tops as far as workmen are concerned. There have been several people that have voiced objections, but they are in the minority, and their objections are not too sound. The main objection that I've heard is that if we get too many DPs over here, they eventually will force out American labor, which, in my opinion, is not true. We need the DP persons just as much as they need us.
What could Mrs. von Mende expect? We went to a shower, an unusual kind of shower given by a group of Owatonna women for the wife of a newly arrived DP. Here she received many things she needed: pots and pans, household appliances, canned goods, enough to get her started, and enough to introduce her to some strange new things.
Geraldine Rushavi, this is Mrs. Grabowski.
How do you do?
I'm very pleased to meet you.
We have a few presents for you.
Here's the electric pop-up toaster for you. That's a toaster?
Oh, here's a jar of peanut butter. We thought you'd like it.
What do you do with it? You eat it?
It's very good. Mm-hmm.
How you eat it? On bread?
Ja, auf Brot mit Honig or jam drauf. It's ganz dick.
Here's something we forgot to give you, a popcorn popper.
A popcorn popper. Now, for what is that? What?
Oh, that's what you use for shaking up the little kernels and popping them.
You put them in this popcorn popper, and what is popcorn? How, you eat it? Well, it's those little kernels, you know. It's corn. Gerade wie man auf... Da haben wir was. In a bowl. Right,
but these are just little kernels.
Well, they pop open by the heat. You put them in the square can with a pot with the screen on it, and shake it back and forth over the heat.
And then they go open so wide and big?
Yeah, and the screen is so that they won't pop out.
Oh, they will jump out of the pan?
No, the screen that covers it will hold them in the pan.
Oh, therefore it's
they
a
pop
screen
way
up in the air. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's something. Oh, I don't know, right?
We were feeling pretty good about what was facing the von Mende family in Owatonna, and then heard that news of their expected arrival had just reached their sponsors, Mr. and Mrs. Melvin Jenke.
Okay, I just got this wire from the Lutheran resettlement, and these people that were coming are going to be here, I guess, about the 31st or the 1st of April.
The 31st? Now, let's see. Well, that isn't very far off. What did you say the man's name was?
Well, his name is Mendy. The last name, first name is Elmer.
Do they have any kids that I can play with?
Well, they've got 2 sons and 2 daughters.
Have you found a place for them to live yet, Melvin?
Yes, it'll be all ready when they get here.
Well, I think maybe all of us could get together that day and go down and meet this family. It maybe would make them feel a lot better if we all came down at the same time.
That's right.
The word spread quickly. The women of Owatonna got together and worked on the von Mendes apartment in a 2-family house.
One division, Oster, would you please put up the curtains?
Yeah, where are they?
In the upstairs closet. You know, on the left-hand side of the stairs.
Clean after the kitchen.
Oh, I think we ought to do the dining room, don't you?
Yes.
And then the living room, too.
Yes.
Did you fix the bedrooms?
Yeah.
At the Rock Island Station in Owatonna, the Jenke family awaits the arrival of the train. Also waiting in Owatonna at the end of 5,000 long miles is a job, a home, and a place in a warm-hearted community.
Hello, are you Mr. Mendy? Mr. Mendy and family, I want to welcome you to Owatonna.
We watched them stand for a moment, looking out at Owatonna as the train pulled away. We didn't have to ask what it meant for them to be there. Pastor Henry Whiting stood beside us.
From the very beginning, we recognized that if these people were going to be resettled in America effectively, it was going to be necessary for the total community to respond and to surround these people with the understanding, the help, and the guidance that our American communities traditionally have been able to give to newcomers. If we really believe in humanitarianism, in government, and in our world relationships, here is a real opportunity for us in America to demonstrate that we do have an opportunity for a people's foreign policy, that we in America may express to the world that America does have a heart, a sympathetic heart for people throughout the world.
You have just heard The People Act, narrated by Robert Trout, a documentary series presented by the TV Radio Workshop established by the Ford Foundation and produced by the CBS Radio Network. These programs are under the sponsorship of the National Committee for the People Act. Here is the committee's director, Elmore McKee.
The citizens of Owatonna, Minnesota have taken practical steps to spread the promise of democracy. If you would like to undertake a similar project in your community, won't you write us at the People Act Center, State College, Pennsylvania. Dr. Milton S. Eisenhower and his associates there will try to put you in touch with someone in your area qualified to consult with you. And if you would like a script or a record of today's program, please write us at the People Act Center, State College, Pennsylvania.
The People Act is produced by Irving Gittman. Tonight's program was edited by Charles Romine. Tape recordings were made in Owatonna, Minnesota by reporter Ob Weston. Original music by Norman Lockwood, conducted by Alfredo Antonini. Listen in again next week when The People Act in New York City.